Hey everyone, welcome to the advanced tier of the Face Reading Academy. Today we are going to talk about one of the most important and crucial parts of the Chinese art of face reading, and that is the mantles or the secret verses. Now, in face reading, when you learn traditional Chinese art of face reading with the traditional teachers like I have, towards the end of the face reading training, the teacher will then pass on a set of handwritten notes. Basically, they're actually notes from classical literatures that are in the form of a song. Okay, so this song basically is a poem. It's called the How Do You Know song. Now, why is it called How Do You Know? It's because it basically says, 何知 means how do you know, or how do you identify, or how do you know this thing exists in that person? So in the old days, if you're able to recite or remember the verses of this song or this poem, and you're able to recite it, it sort of summarizes a lot of the important aspects of face reading. So ever since the Song Dynasty, face reading experts leave down, pen down some of these poems, and over the years, many different masters then collect their songs and collect their notes, and then they form this context or this so-called mantles or verses for us to actually learn. So if you learn face reading from a traditional teacher, towards the end, he or she will sort of force you to memorize these songs, okay? So what I'm going to do now is just like a traditional class where if you're attending with a master, I want to show you that this part here sort of summarizes a lot of the stuff that we have been discussing ever since the basic modules all the way to the advanced modules. Now, of course, translating this to English will lose the rhyming section towards the music. Now, of course, maybe some of you are better with literature or better with English. You could actually rewrite some of these words in English to form the new poems, for example. But what I'm going to do is I will explain to you the Chinese aspect of that poem, and you can then try and memorize those points, and then this helps you, be able to read faces there and then. Okay, remember, none of these points are like you have not done before. You've done all of this before. It's just that it helps you remember if you remember the poem. And so, originally, there should be a total of 108 verses, okay? Originally, the How Do You Know song has 108. If you ask me why is it 108, I believe it's got something to do with the 108. It's a very special number, 72 earth and 36 heaven. It forms the 108 beats on the Buddhist wheel. So they have 108 verses. Of course, you cannot summarize the entire spectrum of face reading into just 108 sentences. It's sort of, it's important for us to know some of these things. So I can't remember all the 108 either, okay? So if you're wondering, oh shit, he's just going to talk about all 108, it's going to take a long time, right? Even if I spend 1 minute on each, which I can't, obviously, that would take 108 minutes. But what happens here is some of these verses are repetitive, therefore I've merged them together, and I'm going to pick up those that I think are more important, because sometimes they have one verse, then there's an alternate version of the same thing, and so better just do one version and not to confuse everyone. So I think sometimes people in old days, they are a bit lengthy when you're trying to explain something, but today I think you can just look at the vital and important points. Okay, so they're called, in Chinese it's called 闽相和之歌. If you understand and speak Chinese and you can recite the verses, it helps you remember, but if you can't, then you just remember the English translation of it, and of course you can rhyme it yourself. Personally, I'm not very good at doing poems, therefore I can't do this for you, you got to do it yourself. But I will explain what it means to you. Let's start with the first one. Now, there's no particular order to which ones are more, which is the first or which is the second. We can rearrange it any way we like, because there's no start to end to these poems. Okay, the first one is called how do you know, or how do you identify if a person's life is full of calamities and challenges at any point in time? So it says, 何知君子多災團. How do you know? 君子 means the righteous gentleman, but then again, it basically means anyone, right? So anyone, 災團 means a lot of problems, obstacles, basically, misfortune. 春夏額常常紛紛 means that in spring and in summer, the forehead, it's gloomy, okay, gloomy. So now, you see, when you translate it, sometimes we leave out the summer because basically it means, what a true meaning of it is, when you see someone's face in February, March, April, May, June, July, on the forehead looks gloomy. Okay, that person goes through bad fortune at that point in time. Now, let me explain why it is February, March, April, May, June, July. Because these 6 months are considered spring and summer. Spring and summer, your forehead belongs to fire element, but at that point in time, you see gloominess. That indicates problems and issues and challenges. Now, I want to take the same verse and reverse it. If you see it in autumn and winter, now what's autumn and winter? That means August, September, October, November, December, and January. These are the Western months translated to Chinese seasons, okay? So if you study Bazi, you would know August, September, October, November, December, January are called autumn and winter, or metal and water months. In metal and water months, your forehead, it's a bit gloomy, it's fine. But if it is reddish, especially dark maroonish reddish, then it's not fine, okay? So that's why the secrets of the verses one must know, yeah? So you see, a lot of people don't know how to translate, so they just translate, if that person's forehead is pale. Pale only if you are looking at it in the wood and fire months, which is February, March, April, May, June, July. But if you're looking at the same forehead, and the period of time is the metal and water months, dark red or reddish. In fact, you're looking at someone who has a lot of obstacles and problems related to career. Why forehead? Because forehead is career. Forehead is parents' palace. Forehead is also fortune and virtue and traveling palace. So when they're gloomy and pale at that time, means there's obstacles and problems. You get it now? So then it's hidden in one short sentence. So this sentence here is to help us students as a face reading to remember the color or complexion of the forehead in different periods of time tells you whether that someone has career problems or helpful people problems. Now, let's look at the opposite version of this. It says here, 何知君子 means how do you know? They say 君子 is gentleman, but it means anyone, okay? Because anyone is supposed to be a nice, righteous person. How do you know righteous person or that person? 百事暢 means everything is good, as in smooth sailing. Well, it says here, 準頭印上. 準頭 means tip of the nose, okay? 印上 means the life palace. 有黃光 means yellow light. Now, how the hell do you get yellow light on top of nose and your life palace? So it's basically between the nose tip all the way to the life palace is bright and shiny, okay? It means that at this point in time, your wealth luck, your life, it's all smooth sailing and no blockage. So how do you know someone currently is going through good fortune, having good money luck, good opportunities, is to look at the nose tip all the way to the life palace. There is a sort of a bright light like this that goes up. There's sort of a brightness that's shining from here to here. Can you see that? That generally means the person is going through good fortune. Here is another picture, okay? So it generally means there's some form of brightness and this person is going through good fortune. Everything is smooth sailing. Now, here's another version of this. As I told you, the how do you know songs have a lot of repetition. There's some slight difference, but nevertheless, they almost say the same thing, okay? It says here, 何知人家, how do you know someone? 漸漸榮. The whole life makes very good progress until become very successful. So this is more like a slow growth, but the other one is currently going through good luck. This is a going to change to good luck, okay? 額如珠色，眼如星. Okay, so in fact it rhymes. If you say it in Chinese, but I know if you are from a foreigner who doesn't speak Chinese, you find it doesn't rhyme, but doesn't matter, right? I'm just trying to explain to you. The reason they put it in the song is for us to remember. So if you say it fast enough, 何知人家漸漸榮，拳如珠色，眼如星. Okay, 拳如珠色 means this cheeks is reddish color, okay, or shiny cheeks with sharp looking or very sharp gazing eyes, okay, alert eyes, they are alert, very bright, very happy, plus reddish pinkish cheeks. Then the person is slowly turning and making progress, becoming more prosperous and successful. That's what this verse means. Now let's reverse this. This verse says the opposite. 何知人家, how do you know that person? 漸漸貧 is slowly getting worse and poorer and having more problems. 面如水洗易生塵. It means the face is as if you wash it and still not clean, and the ears, like there is a lot of ashes and dirt. So which means a dirty and dull looking face. Okay? So if a person is going through poverty or suffering, it looks like that person's face. You know, sometimes you see someone's face like so oily and dirty. Even after a shower, it looks like it's so dirty. It's like something is wrong with the face. It's oily. It's like you can't clean it. You need to do like a massive facial and it still looks dirty. And the ears look dark and pale. Well, that means that person is getting poorer or the luck is gone. Okay, so that's how you see. By the way, all these verses teach us what? All these verses teaches us how to look at chi color, the complexion of a person. Okay, so if you look at the face, for example, right, somehow there's lackluster, it looks very dark, it looks like it's pale, then you see that feature. Okay, here's another picture, okay, of someone who is very gloomy, the ears look dark and pale, right? So someone who is probably moving towards poverty. So this is an interesting verse here. It says, 何知人家白衣換綠袍. All right, it means that how do you know someone who is from an ordinary person suddenly this text here wears an official suit. Wears an official suit means you get promoted, you increase in ranking, or you get awarded a title, for example. Then it says 天窗, the heavenly storage, which is here. This is called the heavenly storage, is the two corners of your forehead. 豐滿 means it's roundish, rounded, okay, and full, not sunken inside. And 福堂 basically means your fortune virtue is fleshy. So the whole forehead, if it looks roundish and fleshy, then you know that, and the color, it needs to be bright. Now remember, it relates to the first sentence. The first sentence says, summer, wood month and fire months, reddish color. Bright is good, dull is no good, okay? Whereas if it's winter months, slightly dull is actually okay, but reddish color is not okay, all right? So as long as it's prosperous, as long as it's fleshy, you know, in winter it looks a bit dry, right? So you cannot like, look really prosperous, like really red in winter, there's something wrong, okay? So if you see such a feature, the person goes from an ordinary position, gets promoted and increase in terms of a position in life, okay? So this is the heavenly storage, full forehead, okay? Bright looking, shiny looking forehead. That's what it means. Now here's another sentence. It says, 何知為官不食祿. How do you know as an officer or someone who is employed, 不食祿? Now the translation it says unemployed. Actually no. It means 何知人家. How do you know that person is going to lose his income? Going to lose. That means how do you know someone is going to get fired? 坐時身起頸頭縮. 坐時, this is a very important word here. A lot of people miss this out. 坐時 means while sitting down, while sitting. 身起 means as he's getting up. 頸頭縮 means do this. Okay? Now, you see, when I sit down and go, or move the neck move before getting up. That's why when in houses in feng shui, they don't like a beam that is run across, because sometimes you got to go like this. That sort of feature basically knows that someone is about to be fired soon. Is about to be kicked out of his current position. So it says that a person always shrinks his or her neck. The missing word here is from seated position to standing position. So while seated, getting up, shrink the neck. that someone is about to get fired and or lose his or her job. So that's how we look at the whole body movement when it comes to face reading. So here's another verse that says, how do you know someone who doesn't have kids, particularly sons? Now, it's very bad in ancient China. So when you have 10 daughters and 1 son, people ask you how many kids you have, their answer will be 1 son. Because their mentality in ancient China is really bad. It thinks that if your daughter is other people's kids, therefore you have to answer 1 son because you only got 1 son, okay? So when it says pasang, it means you don't produce a son. So that's why it says sam yong am fat hak yu mo. So this feature on the face, the left eye is sun, therefore sam yong is the left eye. Now you can translate that sam yam is the left eye, 3 yin and 3 yang. Why is it called 3? 1, 2, 3. Okay, side, middle, corner. The eyes has got 3 sections, so it's 3 yang. Okay, this is 3 yin, the right eye. So if the right eye is sunken and dark, no sons. Left eye is sunken and dark, no daughters. Okay, so now the translation here is say pale and dark eye bags. Well, basically the whole eye is no good. Yeah, the 3 yang is the whole eye itself. So dark, pale, gloomy, then it's difficult to have a son. If both eyes have issue, then it's difficult to conceive. That's what it means. Now, here's an interesting sentence in the ancient text. It says, 何知人家怪上來. How do you know this person is going to experience some very mystical and strange phenomenon? Okay, usually hauntings. Sometimes, maybe it's not real haunting. Maybe you just get frightened because something strange happened, or they've seen a ghost, or they've seen something hiding in a certain corner. 蒙蒙黑色曉純衰. So basically it means around the mouth. Okay, around the mouth, it is pale and darkish. Okay, and all the way down to this part here. This part, this is the soi quad, the bone, jawbone. This part is protruding and is also pale. This part is pale. Then that person may see strange things or experience strange and frightening events at where his or her home. Okay, so 蒙蒙黑色曉純衰 is this part and this part, okay, of the face. So when you look at a person's face, this part of the mouth and this part here dark, it denotes that that person might go through some form of strange events in his or her whole household. Now, this sentence says, 何知兄弟成相吉. How do you know you have siblings who are very successful or equally successful? 山根高聳微如一, 何知兄弟成相吉. 山根 means mountain roots. Mountain roots is here. 高聳 high. 微如一. Okay, eyebrows is 1 character. It's translated as tidy and symmetrical, but what it really means is it's straight and clean. The eyebrows are reference siblings. How do you know both are as successful as you are and you're equally successful? So you look at the mountain roots that is high. So if you look at the picture here now, is this mountain roots is high, but the eyebrows are not number 1, not a single line. Therefore, this fail. This one, is it number 1? Not number 1, fail. How about this? Eyebrows are forming the character number 1, mountain roots high, therefore both siblings and this person, or this person and the siblings, no matter how many siblings there could be, similar success level. Now, let's reverse this. In the sentence it says, 何知兄弟成相兇. How do you know that the siblings are bad, right? Or you and your siblings all no good or don't do well. 山根斷斷, that means this part here, it's broken. Broken means there's a line that runs across. 眉不縫, that means the eyebrows are pale and or sparse, or there's lines that run across the eyebrows. Look at the mountain roots. There's a line that runs across, and the eyebrows, it's not prosperous. Not prosperous is very pale and bony. It's sparse. That's called a bad eyebrows. Together with a low setting and a line that runs across the mountain roots, therefore the siblings are no good. Now, here's a common one that a lot of us parents can use when we are looking at whether our kids will do well in the exam. 何知其人不及第. 不及第 means don't do well in exam or fail in exams. Okay? 眼中赤墨如絲縷. It means that there's reddish lines that run across the eyes on the day of going to the exam. Okay? So, This is obviously not a kid's eyes. So if you look at the kid's eyes, and it happens to have a little bit of a reddish lines on the day of exams, it's quite likely that person won't do very well in the exam. Now you think about it, the person who has eyes like this obviously didn't sleep very well. They didn't sleep very well, they probably are not so alert when they're doing the exam, okay? So when there's reddish lines and you're in for an exam, generally it's no good. Let's extend this. You extend this to going for an interview in life. If you're going to interview for a job and you see your eyes have these reddish lines, it's likely that you will fail in that interview as well, because that is an interview. It's similar to an actual exam that a student is going for. Now, next we look at this sentence. 何知人主早發解? How do you know someone who will achieve success pretty early in life? Early in life basically means before 30, back in the old days, but nowadays early in life is about 20s, all right? 福堂豐滿精神快. So, first, the prosperity palace can be translated as the fortune virtue together with the life palace. 豐滿 basically means fleshy. Fleshy means 2 finger space, meaty, all the way across the eyebrows. And the eyes is very alert and sharp and clear. The eyeballs, the white, the black, the pupils and the white is clear, sharp and alert, together with fleshiness. This person in early 20s will achieve a success. How come? Because the forehead is before 30. Life palace itself is your vision and achievements in life. Fortune and virtue is helpful people and your ability to see positive aspects, optimistic than pessimistic. Optimistic people achieve success faster than negative people. And plus, you add life palace together with fortune virtue, your alertness level is higher. A person with alertness level is higher is able to see his or her mistake and make improvements. A person whose alertness level is low is never able to see their mistakes and cannot improve. Cannot improve, harder to achieve success. Those who can see achieve success faster and quicker. Because it's like riding a plane. When you ride a plane, when you pilot a plane, after takeoff is on autopilot. But along the way, you got to tune in a little bit to make sure that every step of the way the plane is on track, because after a while, if not handling it manually, while it's on autopilot, it might steer off course a little bit. So the pilot does, turn it back to make sure it's on course, and then tune it back a little bit, on and off. That's basically how you do your alignment of your direction in your life. So that is exactly what this means. Success comes as a result of being aware, being alert, and being able to change, direct your course, make it on track to achieve the outcome that you want. Now, so here's an example of spacious, life palace, fleshy, the fortune virtue palace. And that's an indication of possible early success in life. Here's another good indication, but the eyes is a bit small for this individual. Therefore, eyes are small, maybe not so expressive. Okay, and this is again, the eyes are a little bit small, and it's fleshy, so it's good. Yeah, and this, of course, you see here, this is one of the easiest to see. Can you see the whole thing is protruding? See, it's protruding from the life palace all the way to the fortune and virtue palace. In his early 20s, he's already a billionaire. So that is the way you see it, and the eyes are alert and sharp. That's how this specific sentence applies to someone like this. Now here's another sentence that talks about whether someone can accumulate wealth or save money. 何知人家不聚財? How do you know someone who cannot accumulate money? 但看法令破難台. That means the laughter lines locking the nostrils. Laughter line locking the nostrils. 難台 means nostrils. So you can see here, the lines go all the way up and go into the nose. 法令破難台，人生不聚財. You can keep repeat that. Once you understand this, you will know that this is how you see someone that looks prosperous on the outside, very like it's got a lot of money. Or you seem to make a lot of money, but doesn't have a single cent in the bank, okay? Or can't save money at all. Left hand in, right hand out all the time. Now, this sentence talks about meeting with a frightening event or an event that scares you or makes you worry a lot, okay? So, although it says 何知小兒常被驚, okay, how do you know a child is frightened? Basically, it's not saying how do you know your childhood got frightened, okay? That's a wrong translation. Who cares about your childhood? they're talking about how you got frightened as if you are a child. They got frightened because as a child you got frightened. Oh shit, you're scared. Now think about it. Kids who are frightened, usually we say, "Wow, why your face look very pale or look so greenish?" So if you look at a person's face and san kan lin xiang means from here, san kan is the mountain roots, all the way lin xiang is actually in the middle of the nose. There is a greenish color, okay? Greenish color, palish green. That means you suddenly meet with a frightened event, like suddenly you discover that, for example, you have a lawsuit, legal suit, for example, or maybe there was a car crash and you survived, but you're still in shock, for example, or you've just been traumatized, for example. Greenish color goes from your middle of the nose all the way up to your life palace. That's why you look at kids, right? Babies, 小姨 means a baby. Always, if you look, why are they crying all the time? You shut the door, they cry. You talk a bit louder, they cry. Because if you look at babies, isn't that there's a green patch that always goes from their nose all the way to the forehead? That little greenish color. So that's called as if you look like a kid with green chi that is running across your nose. Okay? So if you look at this, for example, greenish patch that run across, then you might actually meet with a frightening event. Sometimes it's like this. Okay? You could almost see that it's like, oh shit, you don't know what happened, and you might have a near-death experience of sorts. Now, this sentence here talks about in your job, there's a lot of obstacles, problems, and it seems that everyone is blaming you for the bad things that's happened. So it says, 何知為官多災難. How do you know as an officer or maybe in your job, there's a lot of problems happening in your life right now. It says, 坐視微鎖口常攤. Okay, it means that a person who is sitting down, and every time the eyebrows lock and is signing all the time, like that, okay? Sometimes they do it, like they don't do it purposely, they just, even that counts. There's some people do that. Even that is considered a sigh. And then after that, they lock their eyebrows. See, those small things tell you whether that someone has been victimized or is constantly victimized in their job. So face reading takes note of all these small things. If someone is going all the time, of course you know you have a problem. But you're looking at the small issue where someone goes, you see? And then that thing. That means things are not going smooth at that point in time. Now, opposite of this, 何知為官一舉超. Right now, as an officer, everything you do, you are achieving fame and everyone is supporting you and saying that you're the best ever, you're the best thing ever to them, you know. So how do you know everything is smooth? Well, 眉發現前言含笑. It means that before that person speaks, the smile is always on the face. Okay, so a person is like constantly smiling all the time, even without saying. The subtle smile is on the face. When a person brings subtle smile before they talk, or even when they're not talking, you know, some people is like jovial all the time, even if they don't talk. That type of face usually indicate that that person's career is going uphill and everything is in his or her favor. Now, this thing cannot be fake. You can purposely smile before you talk, but if you're constantly smiling, even when you're not talking, that is the issue, the feature that tells you that as an officer or as in your career, everything is smooth sailing. This sentence says, how do you know someone is vicious and physical and violent? Okay, and usually, of course, this relates to marriage. So the translation is, how do you know someone has a bad marriage? But what it really means is someone who might beat the shit out of the husband or the wife. So the sentence basically says here, 何知突眼 means eyes protrude. 殺人惡 fierce and protruding eyes. 但看當門 means the teeth. This is called 門牙, the teeth. Right next to it, 兩齒落, okay, these two teeth piercing downwards. It's almost like, you know, when we talk about the tiger teeth or the leopard teeth or the fangs, sharp pointy teeth next to the two front teeth. Okay, so you see the side is sharp and the eyes is protruding and fierce. This is someone that might beat the shit out of the spouse and get very violent, therefore is abusive. So in relationship, it's not so good, okay? So of course, if you read it like this, it means that your front teeth has fallen out. Of course not, okay? 兩齒落 basically means your teeth is long and sharp, That's what it means. So a lot of people can't translate the Chinese text because they're not trained in face reading, okay? So this hidden inside this sentence, that's what it means, okay? So it looks like this. The sharp teeth like fangs, the eyes protruding, like very fierce and protruding. So 4 white eyes, for example, fierce looking, plus teeth that is sharp is considered this feature. Here's another feature, 何知人家殺頭妻，必是三更連仇低. How do you know someone, they say kill the first wife. Actually, it doesn't kill the first wife. Basically means 殺頭妻 means divorce the first wife. Second marriage is better, okay? Chinese words is a bit crazy. They don't really mean kill. It means first marriage, wife died early. So now you have to remarry, okay? May not be end in a bad marriage. So it can be a misfortune. Maybe the wife got cancer or somehow died early and now you have to find a new wife. 三更連仇低. So this whole area is low, okay? Coupled together with what? Marriage palace has to be sunken. Then there's an indication of possibility that the first marriage might not end up to be forever, okay? May not be due to bad relationships, right? This is very low, okay? And this part is sunken. Then is an indication, okay? So you gotta take care, basically it means take care of your spouse's health. If you today you can take care of spouse's health. Back in those days they can't. And that's the issue. So here you can see almost like there's no nose. So it's like almost no nose bridge. Now that's an indication. Now, for ladies, it's a reverse way of saying it. So it says, 何知人家殺頭夫. So it's like the lady kills the husband. No, it didn't kill the husband. It means the first marriage, husband died early, okay? 左頸肥大，右頸箍. It says right side of your neck is larger. So you see translate as right neck, this stupid translation, right? So again, this is wrong translation. We have to translate it because it's the Chinese text. But what it really means is you have thyroid issue, okay? If you have a big 大頸泡, in Chinese they say you have big, your neck is bulging here, your thyroid is bloated. Generally, it also denotes that your first marriage or your current husband's health is not so good. Therefore, it means 殺頭夫 means first husband, if you marry early, might die early. In the old days, today you can actually see the doctor and you can fix this problem. All right, let's talk about quality and length of life. So in the next following sentences, these sentences generally talk about length of life and or health, okay? So it says, 何知人家45. How do you know somebody lives until 45, okay? 但看面皮崩如鼓. So if you look at someone's face, now it says like a drum. What do you mean like a drum? You mean there's flesh like a drum? No, what it really means is, if you see the face, no laughter lines. Remember this is 46 and 47. So if you have no laughter lines that run across, your 46 and 47 doesn't come out. So it stops at 45. That's why it says, how do you know someone's lifespan stops at 45 when the face is like a drum? That means it pulls all the way to the back and then no laughter line. The laughter line doesn't even appear. Therefore, you don't have 46 and 47 on the cheeks. So it's an indication where, you know, health is a big problem as you are approaching your mid-40s. So you need to take note of that. Laughter lines must appear the moment you reach to about 40 years old, because that makes you gross 45 years old. If not, it's a health-related issue, okay? Here's the next sentence. How do you know someone is 82 years old? 何知年壽82. How do you know someone lived to 82 years old? 兩邊法令低垂視. The two laughter lines reach all the way to the bottom of the chin nicely. Nicely, okay? So it will reach to the bottom of your chin. Now remember, this part here until here is 56, 57. All the way until here is about 60s. Touching all the way will reach to about 82. Why? Because this is where your 80s begin, okay? So, can you see here? Reach all the way to the bottom very clearly. It's an indication of long life. Here, it's sort of long, as you can see, but not very deep. Deep laughter lines are better. And this one obviously is deep and long, all the way touching to the bottom. So it's a clear indication that it's possible to reach until 82 good health. Now, further on, it says here, 何知年壽96. How do you know someone will reach to the 96? 96 is not really 96. It really means you reach about plus minus around the age, maybe even 100, right? 天庭高頌精神足. That means the 天庭 is this part. This part is your heavenly region. 高聳 means round and bulgy, and the eyes are alert, okay? So you can see here, you look at this, you straight away would think, hey, I got a nice forehead, I'm going to live to 96. Not yet. Look at this. Laughter line stopped at borders of mouth. Can you see that? Laughter line didn't cross to 82. This one crossed until about here. This is about 56, 57. So possibly around the age, about 60s might have issue because they haven't crossed to 82. When you have laughter line that crossed to 82, then you have nice forehead. Plus this forehead has lines. A nice forehead with eyes that are alert. This is not alert eyes, okay? So this one is possibly, now we don't know how long this will go. Possibly will go longer, might reach to 80s. But it's at this point in time, at the time of taking a picture, it has not reached to 82 yet, okay? Look at this. Laughter lines all the way down here. Can you see? Reaching to the bottom. It's more than 82. Now you can look at the forehead. Look at the forehead. Broad, spacious, bright. Eyes are alert. This is a sign of very long life. Now, let's look at this sentence here. It talks about how you know someone who is literally gifted. And maybe he doesn't look like it or she doesn't look like it, but is literally gifted. 何知圖中有文章. That means this person, it's poetic, is literally very, very good. 但看, look at 牙細, the teeth is small and the mouth, the lips is squarish. So squarish mouth together with small teeth, okay? So the teeth is small and the mouth is longish, squarish. You're looking at someone who is very gifted in literature and gifted with words. For example, this is the mouth that's squarish and the teeth is small. Good example. Now, previously we talked about laughter lines not crossing the mouth, right? See, even some people say, when you smile, it sure crosses the mouth. Not really. See, when you smile, it doesn't cross the mouth. Okay? So, here, now this is not a squarish mouth. So the mouth is not square. Can you see that? This is not a square mouth and the teeth is big. Therefore, it's not classified as the feature that we talked about earlier on. Now, here's a sentence that talks about general lifespan, or maybe lifespan that is a life that is quite interesting and problematic. Okay, it doesn't always have to be long life or short life, because those days is long life and short life back in ancient China, but today is quality of life or lifestyle. So it says, 何知其人命不長. How do you know someone doesn't have a long life or doesn't have a good life? You can say that. 但看聲音女人樣. If the person is a guy, but talks in an absolute girl's voice, okay? Not high-pitched voice. A lot of guys have high-pitched voice, but guys that speak and you thought he was a girl, the lifespan might not be long, or maybe the life itself might have some problems or challenges that's quite unique and bizarre, okay? That's what it means. Now, reverse this on a female's perspective is, 何知兩度再嫁人. How do you know this lady has to marry a couple of times? Not just once, but maybe a couple of times. 女人聲作丈夫音. So a lady who with a coarse voice or a manly voice, I think you can see, right? Some ladies has a very deep and strong and coarse voice. Usually, first or second marriage doesn't work out, okay? Maybe third or fourth. A couple of marriages too, in fact. So you notice that the voices indicate, and also who is in charge. The deeper the voice, she's in charge and he's not in charge. Very interesting. So, but there is a way out of it. It says in the old book, if the older she gets married, is closer to 40, she gets married, the lesser chance of divorce, because only in early age, if you marry at 20, then maybe by 30 you have to divorce the first time, and then you do it again before 40, for example. But after 40, then probably you already skipped 2 difficult marriages. But what it really means is the lady is actually very capable, all right? So those days, ancient China don't like that, but today we're okay with that, right? You have a coarser, a deeper voice, manly sort of voice, that means you generally are the ones that are in control of finances or the one who is successful in the relationship. And so as long as you have someone who is able to compensate and be your yin, since you're the yang, then things will be all right. Now this sentence says, how do you know someone is constantly ill all the time? 何知人家常病苦. How do you know someone is always sick? 臉上金木生黑痣. The nose, now see, 臉上 basically represents this part, the center of the nose. 金木生黑痣. Metal and wood produce black moles, okay? So, of course, the translation here is black dots on the health palace. It's not correct, okay? What it really means is metal and wood are the years and the eyebrows. Okay, so you look at the health palace. Eyebrows on top or below, there are moles, and on the ears there are a lot of moles. So there's moles or dots, or maybe sometimes a lot of pimples on the nose, and the ears have a lot of black moles on top. Then usually the health is no good. Life itself always one health, another issues and problems and all that. Okay, so this is one indication. There's moles on the nose, but you need to also look at the eyebrows and the ears to look at the full picture. And now this is the last of our secret verses. It says, 何知其人定生財? How do you know someone who is so good at producing wealth and prosperity? 看看五岳分明來. Look at the 5 mountains, and they are well established. Okay, so now of course you can translate as a symmetrical face, but what it really means is the 5 mountains. What is the 5 mountains? On face reading, this is the last and final secret for you. There are 5 mountains of ancient China. The top mountain here on the forehead is called Lam Ngok Hang San. Okay, the southern peaks. And Pak Ngok Hang San is also the northern peaks. And then you have the eastern Tai San, okay, 東方嘅泰山, and the western Hua San. Western is the Hua Mountains, and the central is Song San. You know when you go to China, this Shaolin Temple, that's the central mountains. Okay, so apparently in ancient China, they use this to relate to China, right? But it doesn't really matter. What it's just trying to make people remember: forehead, chin, left cheek, right cheek, center nose. If forehead is rounded and fleshy, cheeks are rounded and fleshy, nose is big and large, and chin protrudes out, this is called 5 mountain rising. 5 mountain well defined. That means this person is good fortune from start to end in all aspects. Therefore, you're looking at someone who is able to generate a lot of prosperity, not just for himself or herself, but for people around him or her. Okay, so if you look at this feature, you see the forehead, nice and bulgy, 2 cheeks, nose is large and steady, and really nice chin, 5 mountains rising. And this picture, forehead, really nice and round, the 2 cheeks are fleshy, as you can see, the nose obviously is fleshy and strong, and the chin, look at that chin, also rising outwards, strong, 5 mountains rising. So, there you go. These are the important verses in the How Do You Know song. So, recite the songs, look through the text, remember them. They should give you insights beyond insights into face reading. So this module here is all about summarizing the important points. So you see, in face reading, you don't have to read the whole face. You just have to read the points that actually matter and be able to derive a specific meaning. So recap this topic, read through the text. There's a couple of extra verses that we have included inside your notes right now. So those are the supporting ones, so you can read through that, gain some insights, and perhaps then you are much more familiar in face reading. Remember, practice makes perfect now. So go out, practice this, recite the verses, and you will be able to master face reading.